about drugs. Greetings all who roam this world. We are the Quest Bros and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lab, where we do not advocate the use of illegal and harmful substances. We don't. With that PSA out of the way, let's talk about Cowboy Bebop. For those of you who have been living under a rock the size of Saturn, Cowboy Bebop is a sci-fi anime about a group of bounty hunters in 2071 trying to make a living in a now colonized solar system. We follow Spike Spiegel, Jet Black, Faye Valentine, Radical Edward, and Ein, the dog, as they go from bounty to bounty, making less of a name for themselves and way less money for themselves. All the while, an organization called the Red Drag Crime Syndicate, or the Syndicate for short, is pushing today's subject of discussion, Redeye. But what is Redeye? How does it work? Is there a real-life equivalent to it, and does it function the same? Let's make like Heisenberg and get cooking, Jesse. That was stupid. Redeye is an illegal performance-enhancing drug, applied directly to the eyes. What it does is enhance the sensory perception and reflexes of someone for a short duration. Think of it as like steroids, but for your mind and not your muscles. And unlike steroids, you don't need to stab your eyes with needles. You just spray it in your open eyes like pepper spray. It doesn't sound any better, but The user perceives everything as being slower than it was, like bullet time in Red Vision. The show describes it as a steroid and a stimulant, which is funny considering what I said a few seconds ago. Think of it as like steroids, but for your mind and not your muscles. Of course, much like most performance-enhancing drugs, continued usage of Redeye would lead to addiction and injuries to bodily organs. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say one of those organs affected are your eyes, since, yeah. So now we have to figure out what classifies a steroid and a stimulant in our world and how it compares to Redeye. Let's start with stimulants. Unlike what 5-gum does to your senses, actual stimulants speed up the messages that travel between your brain and your body. Stuff like caffeine in your energy drinks, nicotine in cigarettes, and cocaine in cocaine. It makes a person feel more awake, alert, and energetic. The downside of using stimulants in large doses can cause overstimulation, which can lead to anxiety, panic, seizures, aggression, and paranoia.
Hey, Jared, you forgot to take your Adderall.
That explains a lot. Usually, people consume stimulants by way of what I'm gonna call the 4 S's: snorting, smoking, swallowing, or stabbing. I sound like those drug commercials that just speed through all the adverse effects. Meanwhile, there's just people in a park having a picnic. Anyway, let's move on to steroids. When we commonly think of steroids, we think of PIEDs, or PIEDs, performance and imaging enhancing drugs. You know, those things that sports players get accused of while the other half are actually on. It's that. These are known as anabolic steroids and are commonly known for boosting muscle mass. They're also known for boosting performance, endurance, and for shortening recovery time between workouts. Unlike stimulants, they only use 2 of the 4 S's, which are stabbing and swallowing. However, there are 2 more ways to consume anabolic steroids. One is by taking pellets implanted under the skin, which I have no idea how they do that or why. While the second is by using a cream or gel and absorbing it through your skin. So if you ever see someone at the gym lathering themselves up with lotion before they hit their rep goal, it's probably not shea butter, my friends. It's probably steroids. It could also be shea butter. Now there's one major issue with both of these types of drugs. Neither of them are commonly optically ingested or injected. Unless you're bold enough to cover your eyes in steroid cream, because that will definitely turn your eyes red. The closest thing to optical injections is intravitreal injections, which are used for placing medicine in the back of the eye. Now, steroids are used in these injections, but only to stop inflammation, not to go crackhead crazy on organized criminals. Although that would be kind of funny, in a fucked up sort of way. And even then, it wouldn't be the same thing as Redeye in the anime. In the show, Redeye is more like a mist that you would apply to your open eye and not a needle. Think of it as like living Claritin. No, that's not Claritin Clear. Claritin's a pill. So what have we learned? Well, Redeye as an actual drug would be possible. However, how it is administered in the anime would not be. Besides, you're on a stimulant steroid anyway. I'm sure your eyes are gonna turn red from being bloodshot. And just remember, if you do illegal drugs, you're gonna carry that weight. We are the Quest Bros, and we'll see you, Space Cowboy. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on all our social medias. Also, be sure to support the Patreon. Of course, if you can't support the Patreon, we also accept donations. We also accept you buying our merch. We've got Anime Lab t-shirts, and if eventually Anthony will let me have I'm not a scientist, I just play one on the internet t-shirt. But we are the Quest Bros, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye!